just also mentioned the OKR framework. I'm very curious, how did you implement the OKR framework at Mindvalley? And what is the progress now in your experience, or also the experience of your teams and employees?
So how we started implementation, it was January 2019, so 2 years ago. And exactly when I joined Mindvalley. So the way we started was step by step. So we started at the very bottom, or at the very top, sorry. So vision, mission, and the big, hairy, audacious goal. Where are we going? Why are we going there? And how are we going to get there? And then we broke it down into company-wide OKRs. And in the beginning, for the first quarter, we only looked at the company-wide main goals. And then from quarter to quarter, we went down into teams. So we broke down the company-wide OKRs into team OKRs. And for us, team OKRs, so we didn't look at departmental OKRs, but we went straight down into teams. And for us in Mindvalley, we work in micro teams, which means that we have 3 to 5 people in one team. So that means we have like 55 different teams. So when we started breaking down company OKRs to teams, I insisted we stay on the level of team OKRs for a while until our teams got into the written and into the behavior of OKRs, and they've learned how to create really powerful goals. So it's actually interesting because it was only last quarter, so Q4 2020, when I felt that our process around OKRs and teams adoption is so high, and the quality of our goals are really strong as well. That's when we believed that it was time for us to break team OKRs down to personal ones. So that's how the journey has been going. I'm really looking at now this next year, the optimization of the process. And to me, my goal was from the get-go to get Mindvalley to adopt OKRs fully. But different people mean different things about adoption. To me, what I can see, it's not only about having 100% of the teams or individuals having OKRs. To me, it's about looking at the data and seeing how fast, like how early in a quarter can we get to that 100%. So for example, in the past quarter, we had, I looked at the data and we only had the 100% adoption by the 4th week of the quarter. So which means it still takes us 1 month to get everyone do what is needed to do to have powerful goals in alignment with the company. So I want to look into the process and reduce that, because with OKRs, it's like a lot of different things, right? It's the process, it's the leadership, like how they're adopting it, how they're using it. Because what you want to do as someone who's leading that initiative is you want for the leaders to know what you know, what's in your head, and replicate that. So for me, that's the next step. So for the leadership to adopt the same way of thinking and improve quality of the goals, and for me to reduce the time they have to hustle with it.
Okay, interesting. So you as an OKR coach, you have been working with a lot of companies. You're mentioning also small companies, medium company size companies, and also big organizations worldwide. What is your experience? Do you recommend the OKR framework for any company in any kind of industry, or does it depend really on the size of the company to implement the OKR framework? What is your experience there, Anita?
So any industry, yes, I would recommend. I don't see any reason why not. I work with companies from many, many different industries. And in terms of if everyone should implement it, I really doubt. I don't think so. So especially companies that have a very low hierarchy, and they already have a certain culture where anyone, like any employee, can text their CEOs, directly. That's a good indication for the OKR framework to work, because for some companies to to kind of shift that mindset of the employees in the OKR framework can suggest their bottom-up OKRs, and they can suggest and define how they're going to be contributing to company-wide objectives. So that to shift that mindset in a company where there's no such culture would be much more difficult. So they would end up kind of using OKRs or calling the system like referring that they're using OKRs, but it's actually KPI system. So I think I wouldn't recommend it for everyone, but for the if the leadership team is really strongly so OKRs won't change a culture like that, but it will accelerate it. So if you already have some kind of initiatives around the low hierarchy culture, and you would like to implement OKRs to accelerate that, that's a good idea. But OKRs, the system won't change that culture in itself necessarily.